the Dallas Cowboys dropped their first game of the NFL season, and I have to say the reaction has been just about what we could have expected. The Cowboys were told for 2 weeks that they were one of, if not the best team in all of football, and for 2 months the Cardinals were told that they were the worst team in all of football. Dallas was supposed to destroy Arizona with their backup quarterback and less talented defense. Instead, the Cowboys got humbled in all 3 phases of the game. The run defense got gashed for 8 yards per carry, the offense scored 16 total points, and went 1 of 5 in the red zone. The Cowboys scored 10 points in 5 red zone trips. I wish I could say with all of that, Dallas was close to sneaking in and winning this game, but I can't. They lost to the Arizona Cardinals by 12 points. In all honesty, the way their offense was looking, they were probably 15 to 20 plays away from winning this game. This game shines a light on a major red flag that the Cowboys have, and sadly, it's not the defense. I like to think that there are 2 key components to being good when a team gets down in the red zone. Obviously, a lot more than 2 things go into being efficient and putting up points. But for today's video, we're going to look at 2 things that cost the Cowboys the game on Sunday: play calling and execution. As we all know, red zone offense is almost completely different than the other 80 yards of the field. That's not where the Cowboys struggled at all. They move the ball up and down the field all day. The reason is because once you're down in the red zone, the field shrinks. There isn't the threat of the deep ball, throwing windows tighten up, guys got to get open quickly, and you can be a good offense for 80 yards of the field. But if you stink in the last 20, you're not going to be a good offense altogether, because you're simply not going to put up points. So for the Cowboys, they stunk it up in the red zone for 2 big reasons. Number 1 was the play calling. Mike McCarthy was downright awful in this game. For a minute, I thought Jason Garrett had bamboozled his way onto the field, and I was looking on my TV screen like, where's Jason Garrett clapping it up down there? That's what this offense looked like. I genuinely could not believe what I was seeing, especially at the end of the game, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. An important component to play calling, and the reason that it's much harder than people probably realize, is the sequencing of your plays. What I mean by that is determining when to run and when to pass. Not running on every single first down, not throwing on every single second and third down, but still managing to stay ahead of the chains. You want to mix it up on offense, but still gain positive yards on every play. And that's the exact opposite of what Mike McCarthy and this offense did. On the last few drives, the Cowboys pretty much scripted the game for us. Run, run, pass, run, run, pass, and then, you won't believe it, run, run, pass. Let's look at some of these red zone sequences. In the second half at the Arizona 20, the Cowboys throw the ball to Michael Gallup, who by all accounts was having a great game. They picked up 10 yards. Immediately, the next play, the Cowboys call a run to Tony Pollard for 2 yards. Now the team is at 2nd and 8 in the red zone where you've been awful all day. What does Mike dial up? A read option toss to CeeDee Lamb for no gain. And I do want to point out at this point, the Cowboys did have things going through the air when they wanted to. They just didn't do it. What I can't seem to understand is why did they throw the ball to get within 10 yards and then proceed to gain 0 ground getting to the end zone. And sadly, this was far from the only sequence with inept play calling. Let's look at this to end the game because I almost lost my mind watching it. 1st and goal from the Arizona 5 with 4 minutes to go. Dallas is down by 2 touchdowns. First play, run with Pollard, -2 yards. Now let's all ask Mike McCarthy, what should we do when we gain -2 yards on the ground? And Mike's answer is probably going to be, let's run the ball and get 1 of our -2 yards back. That's right. On 2nd and goal, the Cowboys run the ball again, this time for 1 yard. Now it's 3rd and goal, and you're 1 yard behind where you started. If you throw the ball, you have 3 chances at throwing it into the end zone, which is the closest you've gotten to scoring a touchdown all day. So instead of taking 2 or 3 shots at the end zone or chipping 3 to 4 yards away with a quick pass, Dallas opts to run the ball twice for -1 yard. And in the process, not stop the clock. So not only did you lose 1 yard in 2 plays, you burn up precious time that you're going to need if you get the ball back. Of course, after that sequence, we all know what happens. Dak makes an awful decision with the interception. But aside from the interception, that sequencing in the red zone was completely awful. awful. So we've talked about the red zone play calling, but the execution down there wasn't much better. First, I want to talk about the CeeDee Lamb play where he didn't even try for the football on third down because he was fighting for a penalty and not the ball. I think that one play kind of summed up the entire day for Dallas. As we all know, catching the football is rule number one. As the receiver, it doesn't matter if the corner picks you up, body slams you, jumps up and down on your body with his cleats on. Try and catch the ball. You can't play it as if you're gonna get a flag because as we saw, CeeDee didn't get one, and he didn't even try to catch the ball. The pass that Dak threw could have been caught by CeeDee because it landed on the defender's head, and CeeDee's hands were right there, but he just gave up on it. Poor effort and very disappointing from somebody that's supposed to be your wide receiver one. But I don't want it to sound like it was just CeeDee Lamb. There were multiple times in this game where none of the Cowboys receivers were getting open down the field or underneath. A cornerback room that got toasted by Daniel Jones and that receiving group locked up Brandon Cooks and CeeDee Lamb. Gallup was the only guy beating his man consistently. What makes this even more frustrating is the Cowboys brought Brandon Cooks in to be that guy when you get in situations like this and you need to pick up yards. They got Brandon Cooks to be a playmaker and a veteran on the outside of this offense. And there were times in this game where Brandon Cooks couldn't manage to get open even an inch. And while the receivers may not have been running completely open down the field, I am putting blame on Dak for not testing these corners more. I haven't seen the All-22 yet, and I don't know what Dak's progressions looked like based on the TV. But before this game started, on this channel, we talked about the opportunities that these Dallas wide receivers had against Arizona's corners. And you know what? Every time the Cowboys did throw a pass deep, it worked. Yet, Dak didn't take the shots when he needed to. Even a pass interference at the goal line would have helped you punch it in. But for a majority of the day, as we saw, either no one was open or the quarterback didn't attempt to get the ball to them consistently. The Cowboys' red zone offense is easily the biggest red flag for this team. And that's saying a lot considering the run defense just got gashed for 222 yards. The reason I say that it's the most concerning is because we haven't seen this offense score in the red zone. And while I know I've talked about week one being a monsoon, they didn't do it against the Jets, and they didn't do it against a lackluster Cardinals defense. So right now, our sample size is showing 3 out of 3. Cowboys have been bad in the red zone. They are 6 of 15 in the red zone to start the year. And as we all know, that's terrible, and it's not going to win you games consistently against bad teams or really good teams. And the Cowboys aren't going to win games unless their defense plays lights out in their championship caliber, which is such a ridiculous way to try to win in today's NFL. All right, I promise this is my last video talking about how bad the Cowboys were against the Cardinals. If you want to, go check out my instant reaction video that I made last night. I'll see you guys over there. I love you all. Bye.